Happy Halloween. We came up to Oconee State Park for Halloween 2021. After we were here this spring, we heard how they love to do holidays up. So we booked a trip and had quite a good time.
It was really great. They actually had their big Halloween extravaganza, really for more day use stuff too, last weekend. So our bad that we didn't completely clarify that. But
we'll show off what we did here. We decided to take a little road trip because we missed out on the big events on Saturday.
But it was worth it, and it's beautiful.
I think you'll enjoy the scenery. Makes it this time of year.
It works up, yeah.
When we were here in April at Oconee State Park.
It was a great spring break experience. Highly recommend that.
We got to talking to the Rangers, and they talked about how much they love to do holidays, and that they did a big Easter celebration, 4th of July, Halloween, and Christmas. So we said, let's come back up here in the fall for Halloween. It'll be pretty.
We already had our 4th of July plans booked and stuff.
So we said, let's do Halloween. So we pulled up the calendar, and Halloween weekend, we found a neat site that we thought would be good traffic.
Kind of right in the middle of everything.
For trick-or-treating, and we went ahead and booked it. About 2 months later, we realized that they do their big
Halloween extravaganza the weekend.
Always the weekend before Halloween.
The full weekend, not we assumed it would be the Saturday before Halloween,
right,
which would be yesterday. But that's okay.
Yep. So
we looked into some other things there were to do in the mountains, and one of the things we had never done with the kids is apple picking.
There's in the town of Long Creek, just on the other side of a ridge of mountains or hills here north of Walhalla, the town of Long Creek has several apple orchards. So we thought, we'll go apple picking on Saturday and do that instead. Unfortunately, what we did not know is that this spring there was a late frost that pretty much wiped out the
entire apple crop.
The apple crop for 2021. So nobody had any apples to pick.
But there were some really pretty places, one of which being
Chattooga Belle Farm.
Yes, and their little slogan is unlike any place on earth, and I would hazard a bet that they are pretty accurate in that assessment. It's about a
200-acre farm. Apparently the owners found it a number of years ago, and it was in pretty bad disrepair. It had been an apple orchard, but had been kind of neglected, so they decided to bring it back. The venue itself has a stunning view, so they decided to capitalize on that view.
Unlike anything. I mean, you come through the parking lot and you're like, this is nice, and then you kind of come on the other side of their main buildings, and it's like, it's just jaw-dropping.
It's stunning. So they built this facility there in order to take advantage of the views. They rented out for weddings. There was actually a wedding there that afternoon.
And
they were
they
preparing
have
for.
this like big circular piece that sticks out that where the people were actually getting married, and was all set up. That just, I mean, it's a 360 mountain, gorgeous view. I mean, except for Pretty Place, I can't think of any other site that remarkable that we have seen.
And even though they didn't have apples to pick, they had other things.
Other stuff.
They have various different plants they planted. They have peaches, plums.
They had signs for all kinds of fruit trees, and then they had raspberries and blueberries. So different seasons. It seems like they are taking advantage of the land so that, you know, kind of have a year-round.
So for us, we were able to pick scuppernongs, muscadines, and
some figs.
So that was fun. The kids at least got to pick some, and then they've got the Bell's Bistro,
which was marvelous.
I had the pulled brisket, smoked brisket sandwich which was fantastic.
I had a pimento cheese BLT, but the cheese was like a soft, spicy goat cheese. Very hard to explain.
And then a sweet potato soup.
Sweet potato soup. That was pretty remarkable.
Yeah, that was that. It was fantastic. I got to taste that. The kids got one got a grilled cheese sandwich and the other one just a PB&J.
But even the PB&J was really good. And it was like this. I have a picture of Sam Henry's like, it's as big as my head. And like one half of it was literally as big as it. Something like homemade whole wheat bread. I think there was some homemade sourdough. That was what my sandwich was on. Clara's was whole wheat bread, and she had like a variety of cheeses on hers.
And mine was on brioche bun.
And they had dried apple slices was their side, and some pretzels. But the dried apple slices were so sweet and tasty.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. Really, and the room was neat because it had glass that went all the way around where you got to sit.
Yeah, it was just you're sitting in the circular mountain view.
So.
And they had a playground area. They had some outdoor seating area. They had a little fire pit space. They had just some green grass that, I mean, like I'm sure they have events and things there. Looking at their brochures, but the kids just got to run around a little bit. They've been in the car a lot over the weekend, and so it was a good time for them just to kind of run around while we wait on our food.
There's some other facilities that they've built. They opened up a distillery, so we went and checked out the distillery.
Super cute. If you go
really
out
neat.
to them, you got to drive down and see the distillery. The guys that run it are awesome.
They told me all about their process. Yeah, I brew beer at home. The beginning of distilling alcohol is somewhat similar. So I kind of looked at their vats. Most of what they make there are like an apple brandy from apples on the premises, muscadine and scuppernong liquors. I think there was a apple brandy, rum.
I had a vodka that was made with apples. It was excellent.
They actually ferment, kind of almost an open fermentation process in order to create the mash that they then distill. And he let me sample something that they distilled yesterday. It was going to be a whiskey, but right now it's not aged in the barrel, so it was
straight up moonshine.
It was basically moonshine, but wow, it was flavorful for being moonshine. It hasn't been in the barrel, so that was really neat.
And the other thing too is they were really good with the kids. Like they had Halloween candy, they had silly costumes for the most part. They had a really cool, like, neat space where you could play, and not play, but like there was just space, comfortable loungy space. And they took them down there and turned on Hocus Pocus for them, and let them get comfortable. They were playing darts. We've had their plastic tips, so that was a good thing. But it wasn't like, oh, those people have their kids in a bar.
Yeah.
You know, so that makes a difference to me when we're traveling. We've got our whole family unit, and we're not feeling like you're excluding the little ones.
Yeah, it was neat. They also apparently have a couple tiny houses that you can rent at Chattooga Belle.
And we'll put their website and stuff in the description.
Yes. And then they also apparently have a campground. Now we did not drive down to the campground, but we saw it in their literature sign on the door at the distillery. So if you can't get into Oconee, maybe check out Chattooga Belle Farms.
And really looking at their map on their stuff, I mean, you're not far at all if you're in Georgia or in South Carolina.
Yeah, that was one of the things. As I was looking at the views, I realized we're looking at both Georgia and North Carolina when you're at that particular venue. So on the way back from Chattooga Belle's, we also stopped at Bryson's Pick Your Own Apple Orchard.
Just hoping.
And sure enough, he confirmed the same thing. Just no apples this year because of the frost.
He only had like a 20% crop, and it just breaks my heart for those, especially the small guys. Like, they don't have much fallback.
They were trying their best. They brought apples in from up north to sell, but you can't go out and pick them yourself. It's just not quite the same.
And they had a bunch of jams, and apparently they had some amazing apple pies because as we pulled up, this truck full of men popped out and they're like, we found them! We found the apple pie people! And they like wiped out the apple pie. Almost to the point where I'm gonna be like, well, maybe I want an apple pie. Like, they were like these little hand turnovers that the lady made. So
yeah, it must have been pretty good.
Yeah.
But if you're in the area in the fall, highly recommend checking out the apple folks.
Yeah, they all are. They're all great. They're all really homegrown, and they appreciate the business.
But all in all, Oconee was still, even though the big festivities were last weekend, Oconee was still a great place for Halloween.
It was pretty full.
Yeah, it was fairly full. The site behind us was empty. But here, we'll take a quick walk around. You can see the site, and then we'll kind of talk about the sites and what all happened here last night. All right, I'm gonna do a quick walk around site 114 here at Oconee. It's Halloween weekend. We chose this site because it's Halloween weekend. We wanted to be near the entrance where all the trick-or-treaters would come by, and we did. It is a pull-through site, but kind of a reverse pull-through site. Because of that, all of the camp stuff is back here on this side. You see the fire pit. We have not sat at the table because it has rained the entire time we were here, or each day that we were here, I should say. And the table was soaking wet, and we just ate inside. Come around over here, probably the more uncomfortable thing for me was the power pole placement. I am stretched to my cord, but I made it fit. You can tell I had to do some digging of some sort for, looks like water, so there's some straw decks. It's really muddy. That rain really has played havoc on us here. Come around this side, because of the trees, couldn't put the awning out all the way. But we had a lot of great traffic. We had a place for Halloween decorations, plenty of space for me to cook. Set up a chair, hand out candy. Come back here, you can see site 113, similar setup. I will say of the 5 or so sites set up like this, over half the people were set up the other way, with their awning facing toward the picnic table and the fire ring. If it wasn't Halloween, I probably would do the same thing. All in all, we made it work. We've had a good time. It's been a beautiful fall weekend up at Oconee. Here I am playing putt-putt with the kids at Oconee State Park.
In the rain.
In the rain. That's okay. So again, we chose this site because of trick-or-treating.
Yeah.
We kind of wanted to be in the main thoroughfare. There's a couple little side loops here. We didn't want to be on one of the side loops. We kind of wanted to be right here in the main part. And they do a lot of decorating themselves. They had a couple hay bales that were decorated up
Lots
like
of
a
little
spider.
photo scene kind of stuff up by the office. They have this big pumpkin thing, and the walkway had these witches' brooms.
Right.
And they up by the front, they even had like a big spider. And I'm sure
Yeah.
you've got that. They had a little camping scene, like a big bale of hay. And
Yeah, so they decorated up, and then some of the other campers here decorated. We decorated up even a little bit more than what we did at Halloween weekends, which we'll link up here if you want to watch our Halloween weekend at Ocean Lakes. This is very different. This is a state park, so not everybody got into decorating like they did at Ocean Lakes, but there were some.
there was still a lot, even more than I expected.
And the kids were awesome. There were so many kids walking around dressed up. I stayed here at the campsite and cooked dinner while they went trick-or-treating.
And the trick-or-treating was awesome. Like when we first started, we might have been a little early because I didn't want to be out at so dark, because it gets real dark here in the
It
mountains.
does get dark.
Real dark at State Park in the mountains. We had been at Ocean Lakes, which is very well lit, and you just forget how dark it gets. And then, and I neglected to take any kind of lighting with us. When we first started, we were a little early, and so the kids would like walk back in and be like, "Happy Halloween!" And you'd see people go, "Oh, trick-or-treaters!" And they'd run in and get their stuff. So we might have started a little early, but it really was a lot of fun. But by the time we got kind of to the backside, the back loop there, and there's some tent sites back there, and then they're just a little tighter spaces, and you could tell there's people that had come together. Like there was somebody cooking a big pot, and everybody's eating out of it, and it was very dense. People ready for trick-or-treaters, lots of cool decorations, blow-ups, other things. People had set up little small tables with a pumpkin, and some people had little Christmas tree looking orange things and little scenes set up, and then their big bowl of candy trick-or-treating. Or people were sitting outside their camper. Also in the newer loop, I say the kind of more renovated loop that's got the buddy sites, almost all of those had somebody sitting outside waiting on trick-or-treaters and excited. There was a couple had this huge pumpkin arch thing, and they had these little baggies that were full of little trinkets for the kids. But it was all camping related, like a little Happy Camper notebook and a little hiking guy frisbee and a little camping scene sticker set and things like that that just were a little bit special to Halloween at a state park or at a campsite.
Yeah, they did a nice job. All in all, on top of the fact that it's beautiful, leaves changing, wonderful weather, cool weather.
And it was cool, and it was rainy some on Saturday.
It rained a lot before we got here. The day before we got here, they got over an inch of rain, and then it rained some on a Saturday afternoon, so we kind of had to come in and hang out in the camper for a little bit, listen to some college football on the radio.
Hard.
Because there is no cell service here. If you either bring a satellite dish and pray you can get a signal, or you listen to the radio.
Yeah, there's really no cell or even Wi-Fi, and they don't have campsite Wi-Fi. Some places you go have camp Wi-Fi in the campground. There's not that, and that's one of the perks to me about Oconee, especially as my kids get older. When we were here in April, there's lots and lots of teenage groups that were just like walking around, kind of trying to get their cell service, but you don't have it, and it's fine, and it kind of reinforces that family fun atmosphere of there being fun things to do.
Yeah, we really like Oconee. Oconee is one of our top campgrounds.
Yeah, it's definitely my top 2. It's definitely my top mountain.
Yeah,
campground.
It's fantastic, and we had a great time again. I hope you get a chance to get up here and see it.
Yeah.
Come for Halloween. Come for Christmas. It looks like they're gonna be putting Christmas
There's
stuff up.
already
we
they're
found
already
a couple
working
Christmas
on
trees
Christmas
and some stuff. So
decor in the background.
So come up here for a holiday, have fun,
Come in
enjoy
the
it.
summer. They have a great, go look at our one from April.
Yeah.
There's lots.
Yeah,
They've got a cool.
we'll put a link up there.
Fishing, swimming,
Yeah.
feeding the fish. There's great hiking. When we were here in the spring, we went and hiked to a waterfall from Oconee Station,
Oconee
and
Station's
it was
great. We'll put a link to that one up there
fun
too.
to play. So come to the mountains. Come to Oconee. Great staff, great people.
There's a reason they call this the Golden Corner
Yeah.
of South Carolina.
It's pretty great.